Hello, everyone. A very warm welcome to today's Fireside chat on a theme that is shaping both the present and the future: artificial intelligence and its influence on cybersecurity. I'm Ranal Patil, marketing analyst at MidCat. I'm delighted to open today's session. Cybersecurity today is no longer just about firewalls and passwords, it is about safeguarding trust in a hyper connected world. With AI transforming industries at lightning speed, it is also redefining how we think about resilience, governance, and protection of data. We have with us today two distinguished leaders who will bring powerful perspectives to this conversation. Let me introduce our speakers in a brief. Our first speaker is Pavan Desai, co founder and CEO of Midcat Advisory, with 3 decades of distinguished experience, including service as an ex Indian Navy officer specializing in submarine operations. Pavan has successfully led ventures in security risk management. He is a TEDx speaker and a strong advocate for the convergence of cyber and physical security domains. Pavan will be our host and moderator for today's session. Our next distinguished guest is Kavita Srinivasulu, Program Director, Cybersecurity and Data Privacy at TCS. With more than 2 decades of experience across financial services and telecom domains, Kavita is a recognized expert in cybersecurity, risk management, data privacy. She has successfully led global programs in cybersecurity, risk management, and compliance. We are honored to have both of you today over here. Thank you. With that, I'd like to hand over the stage to Pawan.
Thank you very much, Mrinal. Thank you, everyone, for joining this session. Thank you, Kavita, for agreeing to speak with us on this very, very interesting topic of artificial intelligence and its influence on cybersecurity. It's the talk of the town. Everybody talks in all the organizations we go. These are the things which are spoken about, and I'm sure you are going to tell us a lot of insights about this topic in today's session. As we all recognize that cybersecurity no longer is a technology challenge. It's a business imperative. It is no more about SIM, DLPs, or still very basic like passwords. It is more about protecting trust, ensuring resilience, and safeguarding reputation of the organizations. Also, with artificial intelligence coming into the fray, it is revolutionizing the way we live, the way we work, and it is happening the same way in the cybersecurity space. It is definitely a double-edged sword, as we say. On one hand, when we say it is empowering all security professionals like us on enabling faster detections, anomaly monitorings, predictive insights, and so many things which was not possible in the past. But on the other hand, it is also giving great tools and great agility to the adversaries, from AI-powered phishings to deepfakes to sophisticated adversarial attacks and limitless power to attack an organization. And this dual nature of AI actually makes it very, very powerful from both opportunity side as well as from the challenge side. So that is what we are going to discuss today, and we'll get great insights from the practitioner what we have today. In that context in mind, let me start with a very basic question to Kavita on this thing. That cyber was always considered to be a strategic risk at a board level, and with AI coming in, which is also changing the paradigm, the way we are doing businesses. But the combination of AI and cyber security is changing the entire context in the way we are going to have business, or we are currently doing business, and the future business what we are going to have. So with that in mind, what do you think? What kind of risks are at board levels are being discussed, or what do you think are the things which boards need to be wary of or mindful of in near future and in far future?
Okay. Thanks, Pavan. That's a good question. But first and foremost, I would like to thank Midcat Advisory and the team for bringing this for discussion, because this is a hot topic which everyone, including not only the board of directors but entire industry in the forums, it's a happening subject. To understand how this AI adoption is going to accelerate, and what type of new risks are we foreseeing, and what kind of uh, you know uh, what kind of alerts that we need to keep in mind and work towards, to be mindful that this artificial intelligence is not only going to help the organization to advance, but also there is another side where it will be a big threat, where we'll have to undergo a lot of incidents or a lot of risks that is unforeseen, right? This artificial intelligence is definitely continuous. It started off slowly, but it is continuing now, transforming the industries at an unprecedented pace. Organizations are reaping significant rewards, right, for a new spectrum that they are bringing in to increase the efficiency and the innovation that an organization can offer with the utmost automation and the significant change that this AI culture can bring into the atmosphere. However, this rapid adoption is not only introducing a new spectrum, but also a big space for cyber risks that requires a vigilant oversight, not only from the cybersecurity team, but from the board of directors, a boardroom chapter to be discussed by the leadership teams to understand about the evolving threats and how crucial it is for ensuring that this AI culture introduction or adoption would result in both on the positive side as well as on the other side, where we'll have to face the risk. The complete existing facilities or existing controls of the organization, including the governance structure, the risk management practice that we have in place now, and the resilience as well, the strategic resilience that we've been practicing and that we've been trying to understand the maturity level of the organization, should be relooked into, because there is always a space to for the data poisoning and the manipulation of risks by introducing this AI culture in our existing atmosphere, because the AI system is always dependent on vast data sets that the organization is managing, and the decision making is dependent on that. So the entire model have to be relooked into, and this has to be discussed on how they are going to resurface or to refurnish the entire data model of the organization, including the intellectual property and the intellectual data that they are governing on a day-to-day basis, to see how their models represent the valuable structure, and how applying this AI would be a threat for them, including the privacy space. So this ongoing transformation in an organization needs some acceleration, because without which a transformative opportunity becomes a risk. So we will have to always ensure that the organization are confidently discussing this topic, and both benefits and the disadvantages, and keeping in mind the you know keeping in mind safeguarding their operations, their repetition, as well as the trust they have increased in their stakeholders. So these are some of the points that I feel the organization should keep in mind while they are restructuring or while they're adopting to AI.
So great point. I think what you said is absolutely correct. Kavita, one more thing which I'm discussing whenever I'm meeting most of the CXO level people, there is a huge amount of exuberance or enthusiasm amongst
Mm.
them for quick adoption of, because everything can happen in minutes and seconds. Everybody wants to maybe adopt things at a super fast pace. And on other side, there are security professionals which are very wary of any adoption, so they want to go through that traditional steps, how it is which is going to happen. So I'm seeing a huge a tug of war between security professionals and maybe transformation leaders, because one is about agility and speed, and one is about responsible adoption, and going through those checks and balances which is there somewhere. one of the side is losing in most of the organization. Whosoever is powerful is winning. But what do you see? What kind of challenges do you face because you interact with so many great and big organizations? What are the major issues in this space, and what do you think should be done to avoid major issues at a later stage?
Okay, so there is definitely, as you said, continuous discussions in the forums, AI versus human
Yes.
specifically, right? Which supersedes and which becomes increasingly embedded in our daily, day-to-day activities. Specifically, the growing interest in the market currently is an understanding how this technological advancement is going to, shape their existing structure, how, the human intelligence work would be taken over by the artificial intelligence, using the tools that they had developed for ensuring the manual efforts are reduced and the automation is going to be increased. From personal assistance, you would have also seen, right, that a lot
Yes.
of places that with the first level of filtering or the first level of conversation happens with the machine, not with humans anymore. The personalization is decreased, and the utilization of smart devices has increased, where it is found to be more useful, and there is no more people dependent. The machine filters to some extent before it transfers your call to the human, or to the resource who is managing that particular activity. So this AI is transforming the way we live, the way we interact, and the way we are going to manage the world around us. So this enhancement is definitely good when we see from an automated automation standpoint. One of the most significant effects that this AI adoption is going to bring to human intelligence is the in reducing the human intelligence. Right?
Sure.
How
Great.
I'm referring to this is, whenever we are working on lots of activities, we come across learnings. There is always lessons learned, where there is always a vast amount of information that we try to analyze and find what would be the right solution for the customer to look beyond the existing capacity or the capability, allowing individuals to make more informed decisions rather than on a random basis or with the information that is available in the system. End of the day, artificial intelligence, applying the AI algorithms, is with the information that it could take from the sources or the logs that is available. Right? It will
Yeah.
not be able to think beyond that, beyond the information that it has got or it has reserved in its memory. So we will have to expect or foresee a risk where the level of decision making is going to be limited, or it can be misled as well, and it can end up in privacy issues. Why I'm saying privacy issues is, for example, whenever we're using chat gpt, when we raise a question, it gives us hell a lot of answers, different modes and different models. But can we use that? Who decides that? It's the human intelligence. If you're just going to copy and paste it, and that's going to be a privacy product, or a data of some other company or some other person, the organization is going to be in a big risk, because using others information is not it's not allowed, right? It's not compliant. So if you're just going to close your eyes and use AI automation, then we are getting into a big risk of, with respect to repetition with the customers, and repetition with our peers and stakeholders. And second, the financial loss. Whenever you're going to use this model, there is definitely going to be a penalty which you would definitely face from the regulatory standpoint, applying the data privacy regulations, which the DP acts are across the geos. Right? When you're going to misuse the information of other organization, we're just going to use that without knowledge, then we are going to face this heavy penalties as well, which is
Yeah.
needs to be kept in mind. So now, currently, the machines are shifting roles with the AI is going to be a big risk. And enabling yourself, or uh, training your resources to manage and to manage the AI technology would be the right approach, rather than depending on the AI and leaving behind your repetition and your skills, which is more efficient than the machines are good in speeding up and reducing the turnaround time, all that is accepted. But prompting a shift towards replacing human intelligence with artificial intelligence is definitely open risk, which has been discussed across the forums. While AI offers substantial benefits, there are concerns and impacts on human intelligence which needs to be relooked into. And we have to ensure, when we are adapting to the AI technology, the skills of the human should not be degraded or should not be left out during decision making, especially.
Great. I think
Ho-
very, very relevant. And sorry, you wanted to finish that. Yeah.
now, I hope that
Yeah,
an
yeah,
answer.
absolutely. I think very pertinent and very relevant things. I think that brings me to an interesting what you alluded to, that humans. So because the way we have been brought up, the way we have been educated, so we have been, if we have to do a, we want to be a VAPT expert, or we want to be a L1, L2, L3 resource, or we want to be a governance expert, uh, we are taught to do things which can be automated. So suddenly, what we have been taught for so many years or decades, somebody which is not a human is taking over that role from me.
Mm,
How do you see this whole change from a mental agility perspective? We'll have to cope up with the entire generation of cybersecurity specialists who pride themselves of
mm,
knowing things which can be done 100 times faster and maybe 100 times better, and suddenly they will find themselves as they possess no skills which
mm.
are a differentiator. So isn't it a very, very scary situations for a lot of cybersecurity professionals? And what is your advice to most of them? What should they do? uh,
All right. So, again, coming back, artificial intelligence is surely transforming the cybersecurity landscape to an unprecedented pace. We all agree that it's shaping up the organization in a more sophisticated manner. But the kind of promise that AI gives to bolster the defenses and automate the complex security processes, this transformation definitely needs human intelligence. As I was referring, it raises questions about the the kind of role the cybersecurity professionals have to play, and the competencies that they have to enable themselves for the future ready organizations after cultivating this AI technology. There are queries or the discussions happening that we'll lose jobs, or we will not be, cybersecurity professionals are no longer required because they are managed by the AI, is definitely something that needs to be relooked into, because AI is set to fundamentally alter the responsibilities of cybersecurity professionals, but not to eradicate. Right? By automating, we are just advancing the way the functionalities are defined, and would be working on, be it a network monitoring or threat detection or incident response in pre-analytics or even in risk assessment. They do help us in automating the efforts and identify the unforeseen risks. For example, even with the existing tools, right? I'm sure the tool vendors are applying AI to be more proactive rather than being reactive in nature. Taking an example of SOC monitoring, right? We all do have an incident response plan, and whenever an incident occurs, we invoke the plan, and based on the SLAs and the RTO defined, we try to mitigate the risk or the incident that raised. But that's a reactive one. But how do we ensure we avoid those incidents? How do we ensure that we are more proactive in nature? And that's when these AI algorithms are applied. Threat hunting came into picture, where we'll be able to gather the logs from different sources and identify unforeseen risks and avoid them before that occurs. In these kind of places, AI will help us to be more proactive than being reactive, and that's the place where they help us. But it shouldn't be like reducing the existing capabilities of the individual. So
Sure.
it will be helping us in enabling or addressing more complex threats, analyze nuanced platforms or patterns, and taking decisions in a more more short
Informed
notice.
manner. Yeah, more
Yeah,
informed manner.
yeah, more yeah,
More
make
in real
informed
time.
decisions swiftly.
More real time decisions. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So I think great. So this is more at
Mm,
the professional cybersecurity professionals levels or
mm,
maybe mid and junior level. What do you think is
mm,
happening at CISO's levels and the same? Because ultimately it's all about a leadership. So leadership
mm,
mindset also has to change because earlier they were leading people and
mm,
loads and loads of people. Though, so our teams were big. They were managing
mm,
kingdoms, and suddenly they will realize the teams have shrunk.
mm,
The
mm,
teams have become more agile. They have become more data centric, data driven
mm,
kind of thing. Less experience led, but more insight led kind of
mm.
situations. So, what is your advice to CISOs across the world? How do they need to change? Because if they don't change, then this adoption will also not happen effectively. So, what do you think? Your advice to CISOs across the world on this?
That's a good question, but
Mm.
it's not an advice to the
Mhm.
CISOs or the
Mhm.
board of directors, but the recommendation or what I feel
Sure.
that are key principles that the leaders should apply across their environment, across the existing security culture for balancing speed and responsibility are some of the key components that I would recommend to keep in mind to potentially increase the organization's resilience, and also to ensure we are complying with the legal and regulatory obligations or the requirements. Okay, first and foremost, I always recommend that we will have to relook into our GRC practice, embed the ethics and the security from the outset. Whenever we are adapting to any technology, we fail to keep the security layer into consideration. For example, I take this cloud. Before AI, cloud was something which was talk of the town. Cloud computing came into picture, and slowly all the organization is significantly, just in short notice, moved to cloud, especially during this COVID situation when their availability or transmit was very questionable. So when
Sure.
we appreciate that cloud computing helped in working from wherever we are by increasing the scalability and the availability of deliveries, but the number of incidents that occurred while the data was in on prem is increased significantly when it was moved to cloud. This
Sure.
is two important reasons for that. One is the organizations assumed that the cloud service providers will be managing the security related activities, and they are not responsible. That's the first myth. And second, they also assumed when we move to cloud, the data is protected and we need have to be worried about any incident. So that's an assumption, right? So whenever we are adapting to any new technology, we will have to keep the security as one of the important foster to when we are adapting that culture. The accountability should come into place. Having this security is one of the key aspect to be accountable for increasing the security of the organization. It's like a governance body, like skeleton of an organization. Whatever activities that we are doing within the organization, there has to be a skeleton which is embedded to protect the data and to protect the activities that we are adapting to. So that's one of the key item that I would like to recommend. And another one is we have to have a robust risk assessment risk assessment methodology, which really is important uh, in adapting ourselves to the growing threat landscape. We are no more going to be discussing in the boardroom of is it high, medium, and low, and we keep arguing and keeping taking time to decide, do we have to invest in this particular space, do we have to do it or not. It is no more an optional subject, right? It is
Right.
becoming a mandate that we'll have to strengthen our security controls, strengthen our organizational resilience structure. For that, we have to build a robust risk assessment structure, moving from subjective analysis to objective. When I say subjective objective is moving from qualitative risk assessment that we have practiced with, we have to move towards quantitative. risk assessment, which is a niche today, but we will have to move that. Apply here also, you'll be able to apply AI technology to do a complete analysis across the network, across the organization, to give you a quantitative analysis of what will be the impact to business in numbers, which will help you to take a faster decision and to invest in the right place. So that's a second recommendation I would you know uh, provide here. And another important recommendation to the leaders that I would give provide is, please give preference or priority to the training and awareness, because
Yeah.
it is not that the resources that we have today are open to take A to Z, right? And cybersecurity is not just a formula applying which we have zero incident, and the same resource can handle all the areas without being competent to handle that technology that is growing. So we'll have to be transparent and and educate or to train our resources to adapt to the culture, developing culture, make them set clear expectations and train them on the technology before we adapt to that. That's third. And fourth is, stay informed and adaptive. We have to be having a alignment or a relationship with the global advisories, for the reason, because if we are doing, for example, a vulnerability assessment with the in-house or internal network, it's going to give whatever vulnerabilities that is existing internally, and we are going to mitigate, and we are going to be on a BAU model. But that's not enough. We have to see what's happening externally as well, the external threats that is evolving day by day. Those alerts should be in line with your organization's culture. We have to get aligned with the advisory or have a relationship with the advisory council to get that ongoing ongoing new threats that is identified and that is communicated on an ongoing basis, for us to be proactive in nature and not reactive or after the incident occurs, right? So these are some of the things
I
that
think they're
I
great
would.
advices. Great advices. I hope most of them will follow that. Just to stay on the investment uh, point which you mentioned, what do you think should be the priorities as leaders on the current investment? Because now everybody wants to do everything together and everything costs money. So changing the whole framework, changing whole compliances, changing entire way we are doing business is a huge cost. So and we have to be cautioned enough when we are dealing with cybersecurity. So what is your recommendation or suggestions to leaders in terms of investment priorities, and what should be looked at first, and then step by step what later kind of thing?
Yeah.
Mm.
So investment is a very key area where it's continuing to reshape industries, redefine competitive advantage, and to leaders are facing this critical in making a decision where to focus and where to invest, in the right space. And the question is no longer whether to invest or not, but to do in a way that both accelerates organizational success and safeguards against the emerging risks and the emerging threats that is spreading across the infra. And it's no more surprise once in a while. It's
Yeah.
happening every single day, every single hour,
Right.
because the predators are becoming more sophisticated. How much ever technology that we may develop, they are finding loopholes, where it would take over or exploit the network that we are working in. So this is becoming one of the pain areas where no organization uh, can navigate or assume to navigate or solve this using AI landscape, right? The AI technology adapting to that in isolation is never going to happen, because there has to be a set of investment that needs to be invested, be it with your existing culture or existing controls to be uplifted, or the technology vendors that you're working with, or the advisors as I was referring to, or any industry concepts. You will have to be enabling access to cutting that edge, because the organization cannot work in isolation anymore, only managing their governance structure, the internal controls and internal activities that is happening. They will have to diversify and come out of their the in-house and collaborate
Mm.
and accelerate in this AI adoption. Because AI is not a simple tool which can be used for managing your internal activities, but it is a global adoption now, where it's a foster innovation, where it helps us to develop some some industry wise industry wise standards in industry wise automation, which will help us to accelerate and to develop our existing organizational culture. But when we have to do that, there has to be three main areas that needs to be prioritized and that has to be invested in. As first area, it is connected with information security always. One is the talent, technology, and partnerships. When I say TTP, when the talent, we always recommend in all the forums, and whenever a discussion comes into picture, there is a demand and an emphasis on prioritizing upskilling our resources, our employees, and to cross functional on cross functional training has to be provided to the resources, to ensure we have a collaborative approach and it doesn't work in a solo model. That's
Sure,
first.
sure.
And second, it's also the technology. When we are investing in a technology, it shouldn't be like we go by which tool is famous or which tool can be applied for one specific requirement. It has to be definitely looked at a centralized manner. It shouldn't be looking at at a vertical or at a on a solo manner. It has to be an ethical system where we are having a centralized approach which is adaptable, secure, and it helps us in all the activities in a centralized manner. You have to
Sure, sure.
choose a product in such a way that it doesn't help you in one space, but it also looks at all the other places, where it can fetch the data and give you a centralized approach using even the AI technology that is growing. And the last is the partnerships. So when,
Sure.
as I was saying, the organizations cannot work in solo or an isolation mode anymore. We need to build networks, we need to share knowledge and set standards and expectations, which is growing across the industries. We will have to have ongoing relationship with the advisories to get their advice, their best practices, to see how we can proactively approach the model and to minimize risks. So these are some of the three key
So I
areas
think
that
that's
I
good.
recommend.
I think a great point. I'll just move on to the next area of maybe regulations and governance on that, because there is some kind of a dichotomy between security, privacy, and AI, because AI thrives on democratization of data.
Mm,
Privacy wants to control data, and
mm,
security wants to have limited access to the information. So the more access to the data AI has, the better results can come in. So in some
mm,
sense, there is a sort of a tug of war between these all three domains, and with regulations coming in over top of that, like data localizations and various things, well, GDPR or privacy in India, or some other regulations coming in somewhere. Uh, what challenges do you see where we'll have to face, because it is going to be too complicated, and one of the countries or one of the regions suddenly put a control or a regulations which is not in line with the growth of that technology? How do you see these kind of things happening, and do you have any view on this?
mm.
Mm,
So, as the technology grows, the
mm,
vulnerability grows, and when the vulnerabilities grow and the incidents increase, the regulators come into picture.
mm.
Definitely, the rapid advancement of this AI in today's threat environment, with the increasing complexity of cybersecurity threats, have prompted the regulatory bodies, to not only in one location but across the geos, to introduce new regulations and frameworks for the organizations to be prepared, especially for the CEOs and the CISOs. Staying ahead of these changes is critical, but it is mandated to ensure the organizational compliance, maintaining the trust, and safeguarding the business operational resilience. So, when we have to keep hand in hand the privacy, the culture, and the resilience. in place, understanding the regulatory landscape is one of the key demand or key for the organization, because the AI regulation as well differs from geo to geo. The jurisdiction across the geos share some common themes but not the same. But one or top four common things, that whatever regulation that is evolved and that has been released across the geos, five important things that is common across these regulations are the transparency, right? We would have heard lot of things about transparency, and GDPR really evolved or brought in this principles into a picture. It was not that it wasn't available before, but GDPR was so stringent, it really shook globally, for by which was released by the European Union, at a global level, for organizations to give attention to the protection of data. The data protection played a very key role, especially the personal data. So transparency is one common thing across across the standards and across the technologies. And second is the accountability and privacy, data security, and risk management. So these are five key components that is always common across the regulatory requirements, which the organizations should keep in mind. And they have to start monitoring these aspects, these evolving requirements across their culture, especially when it comes to cross border cross border operations, right? So when the data moves from one area to a different area, there is always a multi jurisdictional compliance obligation that arises, that triggers, and failing which there's a lot of challenges in establishing the cross border operations. So that needs to be in picture, and this specific activity is a big is undergoing a big risk while complying with the AI regulation or the privacy regulations or the ISO standards as well. ISO standard was not so specific to cross border, but getting introduced into this privacy acts and AI regulations, they are now emphasizing there are new standards that is getting more strengthening on the data protection and data governance. So embedding compliance into the organizational or the operational structure is little critical and need to be given a second thought, because leadership should not integrate regulatory requirements with what they are managing today. It has to be integrated in such a manner the business and the technology strategies are establishing cross-functional governance, conducting regular risk assessments without having a subjective analysis and making it more you know outdated. It has to be upgrading its patterns to today's emerging trends and
Sure.
the artifacts, right? Whenever we go to an organization, the big time challenges, they are doing a lot of activities, but what is required by the auditors or by the regulators are missing in most of the cases. Either there is no policy or SOP or procedure, or there is no proper documentation available. This is one of the key challenges that the organization should be relooking into for maintaining clear records, because maintaining clear records is a big ticket for regulatory require to face the regulatory requirements, because they
Sure.
demonstrate compliance in the event of audits or any incident that
Sure.
may occur.
Sure. Sure.
So these are some of the places.
Thanks. Thanks. Just moving on to the last part of it. So if you have a crystal ball, or if you want to predict the future, which is difficult for a lot of us in this space. So in next 24 to 36 months, how do you see the whole cybersecurity domain is likely to change, or how the life of a CISO or the cybersecurity professional is likely to change in next 24 to 36 months?
In today's rapidly evolving digital landscape, the question of whether there'll be a change in cybersecurity, or there'll be AI which would be influencing the entire network, and there'll be a question if the cybersecurity will no longer be a, a team or a function that is available. That is still under discussion, but I'm sure that is not going to stop the transformation that we are looking for. Cybersecurity is not going to demolish, or it's not going to go away, and it's no longer a static discipline as well. The attack vectors are constantly changing with the threat actors. There are a lot of sophistications employed to advance the tactics and to empower or to influence the network. So it is not if we don't need the cybersecurity resource, or there would be a challenge for the evolving threats, there is key considerations for the leaders and the board of directors to ensure they invest their time and efforts in the right places. And as we discussed, given the current climate of emerging risks and cyber threat models changing and the evolving regulatory requirements, there has to be a maturity level that needs to be increased of the existing model that the organization has. And it's indeed an opportunistic moment for the organization or for the leaders to revisit the existing technology controls and consider that embedding AI is a proactive action, and it can safeguard the organizational assets or operational resilience or the position of the future success. But
Sure.
they should also keep in mind that technology alone will not safeguard their organization, but the people play a very key role, or the cybersecurity team plays a very key role in decision making, because we will not be in a position to depend or invest our time and efforts in going by what the tool says, but there has to be a team who invest their time more in advancing and enhancing the decision making process. Because if the take GPS as an example, right? If when we are following the destination using a GPS, how many people have even end their life by just being the system and not the human intelligence by taking the right
Mm.
route, right path when they are traveling. So similarly, the technology helps us and guides us in taking the right decision, but that shouldn't be the decision maker. And we'll have to keep both in such a position that AI is used for automating the efforts, and human intelligence plays a role in decision making. So they have
Great.
to partner together to enhance current system. Is my thoughts, Bharat.
Great. I think that's very well summarized. So I think that brings us to the end of the today's fire chat, and so many amazing things to reflect on what we have heard from Kavita today. I think AI is clearly reshaping the way the cybersecurity landscape is going to look in near future, as well as the few. It will offer very powerful capabilities, especially in the domain of predicting, prevention, and response with the agility which we miss at this point of time. It is going to be as real time as possible, both from prevention as well as attack perspective. So it is going to create new complexities and a new risk that will really demand amazingly different level of vigilance and response. Also, I think we discuss a lot about the importance of balance. So it is not about only technology, and it is about the humans. So ultimately, technology is there to improve and automate a lot of things, but ultimately it's the humans which should take decisions. I think very, very well summarized on that thing. So with that, I'll just like to thank everyone, and a special thank to Kavita for sharing your insights, experience, and perspective with such clarity, with so many examples which you have given, with your experience which you have. I think I hope there is a lots of things to learn for all of us, and continue to improve our organizations and beyond wherever we have our influence. At Midcat, we really believe that building resilience is in this new era of AI and cybersecurity will require not just the technology, but also as a collaboration, leadership, foresight, and combination of all, and most importantly, the balance and the governance and the ethics will be at super important aspect of this whole journey in the future. With that, I would like to really thank once again Kavita and close today's session. Just wanted to say that stay curious, stay resilient, and let's continue shaping the secure future together. Thanks a lot for this session, Kavita.
Thank you. Thanks, Midcat team, again for bringing up this key subject for discussion. And I'm sure we accept and adopt to a technology, not replacing human intelligence. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Pavan and Kavita, for engaging and thought-provoking discussion. On behalf of MidCat, thank you all for joining today and for being part of this important conversation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. All right.